there was I think about a 12 centimeter tumor that was enlarged in my liver. There were a few tumors in my body and had spread throughout my bone, but luckily not my head yet. So then they were gonna say I had to go through chemo for life. And the first doctor I met, the first oncologist, said it's about a 4 to 5 years chance of living expectancy and 69 chances of survival. Hi everyone, I'm Anita and I am from Santa Ana, California. I was diagnosed with neuroendocrine carcinoma stage 4 at the age of 22 in 2022. Since 2022, when I was diagnosed with cancer, life has been very awkward for me. I've been trying to find meaning, purpose, and a road to my undecided future. In the year of 2021, my dad was diagnosed with skin cancer, and within 1 year, he passed away. And 7 months after he died, I started feeling symptoms of leg spasms and my abdomen started swelling. So I decided to go to the ER because my family doctor did not pay attention to me, and she didn't believe me when I said I was having leg spasms, and she told me it was anxiety or too much stress. She said she couldn't approve a CT scan, but at the most she did was give me an ultrasound, but I kept trying to schedule the ultrasounds, and they were 5 to 6 months ahead, and I was having pain right now. So that led me to going to the ER on a Saturday morning. I remember I was just going to visit just for a quick CT scan because I had plans to go to the beach that day. And then they held me back for a long time. And then a doctor came in, and I remember him patting my knee, and he was like, "You have more than 16 tumors inside." And that's when it all hit me at once. I was like, 16 tumors? Does this mean I have cancer? And then they said, "You have to stay overnight. We're going to have to do many more scans and lab works, and we don't know what to do yet." So they kept me overnight that day. After that scan that night, they kept me in the hospital for exactly 1 whole month while they were doing blood work, they were doing biopsies, and even before the biopsy, they concluded that I needed a port. So they just quickly did the port surgery. I had no idea what was going on. They didn't tell me I had cancer or anything. They just put the port inside me and said, "You'll probably need it for the long run." And I didn't understand it at that point. And then after maybe 2 weeks in the hospital, they misdiagnosed me with Ewing sarcoma, which is also a rare pediatric cancer. And then I'm not sure what happened between the doctors, but I spoke to a lot of doctors at that hospital who were in disagreement. And so they sent my biopsy sample to Mayo Clinic, in which after another week of being in the hospital and waiting for the results, they said I have neuroendocrine carcinoma, which is also a rare type of cancer. It's similar to a small cell lung cancer. It was mainly in my liver. There was about a 12 centimeter tumor that was enlarged in my liver. There were a few tumors in my body and had spread throughout my bone, but luckily not my head yet. So then they were going to say I had to go through chemo for life. And the first doctor I met, the first oncologist, said it's about a 4 to 5 years chance of living expectancy and 69 chances of survival. My first reaction, I felt like, at first it was disbelief and denial. At first I was like, I'm young, I can do this a lot, I can overcome this. And then my second thought was like, oh, my dad just died of cancer. This is a reality I'm seeing happen and now living through it. And then my third kind of reaction was like, what am I going to do with my life now? It is my 3rd year now of this chemo cancer journey. So the broad timeline is I had 75 rounds. The first chemo I had was 75 rounds. It consisted of a very aggressive chemo that caused hair loss, also combined with immunotherapy, which is a type of therapy that used your own immune system to fight off the cancer cells. And then that had started failing, and my oncologist said there was a new clinical trial, and he put me on that trial for 1 month, which also started failing. And then we realized it started failing when one day I woke up with half my body from waist down. It was paralyzed, and it was because after all the scans, they didn't catch the one that was growing in my bones. I was pressing against my spinal nerve that left me paralyzed. And then I went through emergency surgery, which lasted about 8 to 9 hours. That they drilled up my spine and scraped out that tumor in my back and put a rod and screws and back in action. And then we went through about 30 rounds of radiation, abdomen, back of the spine, neck, and head, because that chemo failed and the tumor started growing in my head, but not my brain, so thankfully. And then now I'm on this new chemo. I'm actually on it right now at home, and it's been 20 rounds of this new chemo. So total of 93 rounds together. I did talk to my oncologist after the whole scare, the whole surgery, my spinal surgery, and learning how to walk again, and how he missed that tumor growth and how it grew in my head because the chemo wasn't working. He says that it's probably chemo for life, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that at this point, that I'm just gonna have to go through chemo. But it seems like this one is positive, reacting positively. Since 20 rounds of this chemo, the tumors have been stable, which means the tumors are still there, are still present, have not shrunk, but also have not grown in the past 6 months. My surgery was about 8 months ago, and I'm still trying to learn to walk and resume my normal life while having this chemo, and it's more frequent. I have to go bi-weekly now, as opposed to the chemo last time. It was about once a month. I was in physical therapy, and I was also in a wheelchair. Thank you to my family and caregivers who did a lot of work to help me get back on my feet. Since May was my surgery, and the whole 6 months all the way to December was kind of my mourning period where I recovered. I let myself kind of be sad and be depressed. And now January, my new goal was to start walking. So January, I was able to ditch the wheelchair, and I started using my walker, then my cane, and I'm still using the cane now once in a while. But when I'm around the house and I take walks, I take my little dog out to walk around 30 minutes every morning now to walk. I walk up and down the stairs every single day. And I have officially, since last month, been able to put on my socks by myself. So because of my spine, I cannot bend down all the way. So I can't pick anything up from the ground. But my physical therapist did give me this amazing tool to grab things from the ground. So I'm not supposed to bend. So that's why putting on socks was a challenge. I have to bend my knee up. Other than that, I'm able to dress myself again. I'm able to shower myself again. I still shower with the shower chair so I don't slip and fall. It's little minor adjustments, but now officially I don't have to use the wheelchair unless I'm going long distance. When I travel through the airport or somewhere quick, I will need a wheelchair. I'm slow moving. I didn't know this, but when I was talking to all my nurses who have patients that go through this chemo, say it's very harsh on them, especially the side effects, because anything cold will make my hands and bones go numb, and anything I drink cold will make my throat close up on me. But the good thing is I have hair thinning and not hair loss. So I was able to grow my hair back since 6-7 months now, and I didn't have to shave, which is very good news. But there's a lot of nausea, and there's a lot of nausea medications I have to take. I'm on heavy steroids every 2 weeks. There's a lot of diarrhea and constipation, the duo. And especially, I think the pump that I bring home is called Fluoresil 5FU. It is about 48 hours. It's 3 days. First day I go into infusion the whole day. I bring home the pump, and on the third day I come back and they de-access the pump. The worst part, I think, is the cold neural sensitivity. My fingers kind of just close up like this, and I can't move them until I warm them up, and then they move. So I have to be warm or conscious of holding cold things, even the freezer, or cold water when I'm washing my hands. Before I was diagnosed, I am still a huge traveler, but I was a huge traveler back then too, and I loved traveling. I loved trying new experiences, and especially being active and doing things that I think my body could handle. Like, I imagine now, like, even after cancer, I won't be able to do strenuous physical activity like skydiving or like skinny dipping or jumping into like a pool or cliff, climbing cliffs, rock climbing, things like that, where my body can't handle that anymore, even though I still love to travel and I strive to travel every day to see the world. I think I've grown to be more careful of my needs, especially to advocate for myself and not be so reckless. But I do miss those carefree times. And it makes me feel old, even though I'm young. But it was like, I didn't have to worry about my health. I didn't have to worry about, I didn't have to be careful about my physical needs until now. I'm much more careful. So I miss that carefree youth and energy. I think my biggest message or kind of perspective while I was going through all of this is it's okay to let your body have that phase of rest, of depression. Your body needs to go through it. Like, it looks like, yes, I'm very happy. I'm very grateful for everything I have now. But after the surgery, there are times that I just laid in bed. I just cried all day. I just sat in bed and I slept for like until like 1 or 2 p.m. I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to move. And I validated myself by saying, this is okay. My body is recovering. I have to let myself feel these emotions. And it's okay to feel these emotions because cancer isn't easy. It's not easy. Whatever you're going through, whatever struggles, it's not easy. But you have to let your body feel that, and you need that rest. And the most important part after that phase is to not force yourself to be happy, but you just can't let that sadness take you over. So after all that sadness, after you cried it all out, you kind of just wipe up your tears and start again, because every single day is a chance for you to start again, fresh, clean, like a clean slate. There's 2 things I think is the most important for me. First thing is my dad. He's my hero. He's a Vietnamese war veteran. He came all the way here to give me plenty of wonderful opportunities. He went through cancer, and I saw him go through it. And he was such a fighter. There was not one day he gave up. Not one day I saw him cry. Not one day did he complain about the pain or whatever the struggle. And even to his last breath, I feel like he lives on inside of me. Like, I am his legacy. And it keeps me going, because if I give up now, then it's all of that wasted effort, all of his wasted dreams and hopes will just be gone. And that gives me a lot of courage to move forward for both of us, so he can live throughout me. But also, I found my own coping mechanism through art. I make alien-themed cancer awareness art. So I call myself Awkward Life of Cancer, because I was formerly a teacher, and now I just make art, and I feel awkward sometimes when I tell people, yeah, I was a teacher. But I really enjoy making art, and I make them with cute little alien stickers to spread awareness, and also because aliens I feel like an alien when I have cancer, because nobody really gets exactly what you're going through. But my alien, I call him Apollo. He can be whatever or whoever you want him to be, and he represents everybody going through whatever struggles. So I enjoy doing that. The one advice I would give to anybody going through some struggles, hard times, is that you have to believe that you are meant for greater. You have to believe in yourself, because the human spirit is very, very, very hard to break. It's impossible to break. And whatever it may be that you're going through, and whatever it is that keeps you going, for me it's music, for me it's art, for me it's my dad, whatever passions you have to stick to it and believe that you are meant for greater. Like, if I woke up one day and just forgot who I am, and they told me, I belong in the war, I'm in the veteran, I've been like, strong lady, and then if I believed it, if they told me that and I don't remember my past and I believe it, and then I will hold myself differently. Having that self-belief is one of the strongest parts of getting through a hardship, because you're the only person who can save yourself. You're the only person who can bring yourself up, and you're the only person who will always be there. So you have to show up for yourself, because You have to believe that you are meant for something greater. You have to believe in your own self-strength, because being courageous isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and knowing that it's scary, but showing up and believing yourself even if it's scary.